Hello, it's Ileana and welcome back for another process video. I've gone back in time a little bit, delved into my hard drive, as well as a really historical picture back from 1999 of a lovely lady called Margaret. And the kit I'm using is the Acorn Avenue kit from Like Forever back in September, where I was guest designer. And I'd finished my assignments and carried on playing, as you do, of course, not going to waste good product. But I haven't shown anybody these layouts, so I thought I would let you see what I've done. This one really was difficult coming together, actually. I had no flow, I really struggled. I'm not quite sure what happened to me. It's not like I was lacking in product or inspiration in any way. Anyway, that's the Acorn Avenue plum piece that I'd be using to map that picture with. Onto the chevron brown, which is Walnut Street, and this teal piece, well, teal, probably more like turquoise or aqua, Town Square it's called, and I'll be using the plum and aqua Town Square to map the picture with. But the thing is that I was trying to pull in a bit more of my own stash and get a bit more creative, and I made some doilies with the Sizzix, as you can see on my desk there. And I also tried to pull in some nice textured pieces. So I'd made some kind of swirly white textured cards there with one of my Sizzix, I want to say die, but it's not my embossing plate there. And I've got some feathers embossed as well, and some hearts embossed, and some stitching embossed, and I thought I'd incorporate all of that. Well, actually I've used hardly any of it. I ended up pulling a lot of that off. So the white piece that's poking out there I'm going to be removing eventually. But I am going to keep the rest of that cluster, and I've just popped it up there on some dimensional waste not whatnot. And then I am going to be sticking some stuff onto the front of the picture, which you won't see, but I'll explain that as you see it later. And the yellow that I've already pre-gutted from a previous layout I'm going to use as well, but this is something that I kind of play with, and I make a rectangle there to map the whole photo cluster onto, and that one was called Park Place, backed onto the lovely chevrons there. And I've kept the border because I will in the future be using that on another layout, and I'll show you that in due course. But anyway, the yellow piece with the pluses, so that bit I haven't kept like that at all. I kind of moved it up as a rectangle, and then I actually ended up pulling it all off. I've skipped ahead. I really have skipped a lot out of this. I've edited a lot of video because I was moving so much paper around. It was making me giddy, and it would have done that for you, I'm sure. So the pink piece you can see jutting out, that was from the collection as well. Well, that won't make it onto the final layout, and in fact even that big doily won't, but I've adhered the small doily onto the left hand edge, and that bit I'm going to end up keeping as part of the final layout. But as I pick this layout up to look at it and make some more decisions about what's going to go next, and after I've cut the branding strip, you'll see that I become really displeased and decide I'll just rip it all up. So I'll do that in a minute. Looks a bit angry because it's all fast and sped up, but actually it was just, it was me making kind of a rash, perhaps, decision to just start again. So I was much more comfortable going back to the original cluster I'd made and then just matting it onto a smaller piece of the Walnut Street brown chevron piece, and finally onto the aqua paper called Fifth Avenue. And I'm a lot more happy with how airy that looks. I kind of like the chevron as one big piece, but somehow or another it just wasn't working for me that day. You'll see I've already adhered the acorn that says thank you, and the Home Sweet Home glitter circle. Those bits are covering up some distracting, probably papers. I think she was reading the Sunday papers that day, and I must have brazenly come in and just taken a picture of her in her living room. And that wouldn't have been where I was hanging out. These weren't my quarters. These were Margaret's quarters in her big house. I'm saying that she would have been most welcoming, and in fact she, every now and again I I had a little dinner with her and stuff, and she took me up to some beading workshops and we hung out together for that. And she was very artistic, and she did a lot of felting and tapestry work. She was a real joy, actually. But you know, I had my room, and generally I squirreled myself off there, and she had her big space, and that's where she lived. And you know, I was in her house, and that was fine. My memories are really of warmth and joy for the few months that I lodged with her. She was a real friend of my mum's, and we both left Inverness, actually, and so we've lost touch with dear Margaret now. Probably some 9 years since I last saw her, actually, since I was actually in Inverness myself. But anyway, the memories run deep and run fond. So I'm just matting the whole cluster there with a lovely, the yellow piece I showed you before. Was that the Park Lane? I've totally forgotten now. So yeah, so forgetful am I. Anyway, and the plum pieces as well from the Acorn Avenue, just to kind of stagger around a bit of a frame on the outside. Quite like how that looks. It wasn't my original intention, as you saw, but I think it looks okay like that, really, all in all. Slightly rustic and a little bit rugged. Playing around with the title, simply Margaret, by the way. It's just Margaret because that in itself just brings all the connotations of warmth, and you know, the memory itself is in the name, so, and then the picture, actually. So I haven't gone too mad with the titling on this one, but I have stacked a bit of paper in the background, actually a bit of that pink triangular piece, yeah, and it's just adhering all of that down. That the background piece, I think I might have mentioned, was already gutted because I've previously cut that out to make another layout with. So the funny thing I've done there, that bracket, I've obviously traced around with my scissors to kind of give the same shape as what's poking out on the edge of the photo cluster. So kind of as a point of repetition, I've decided to do that again. Slightly wacky, I suppose, but I don't mind the way that just kind of sticks in at the end for a bit of added interest on the right hand side. Slightly mimics the doily on the left there as well, I suppose, in some way in my mind. You've also seen me just sticking in the green blessed tag label up top there, and onto that I'll also be adding a sticker that says memories from the stickers sheet that came in the collection with all the tiny little gold words on them that were lovely, and I'll be using those for my journaling later as well to intersperse. I also punched out a few heart shapes. Now the ephemera pack had lots of hearts in it and lots of different shapes, of course, but I thought I'd just punch a few extras out just to scatter across the page. Again, it's that warmth and love and happiness that the whole page brings to me as a memory. These hearts were, of course, originally embossed, and I'd hoped to use those. Well, in the end, I've actually just cut round the outside of 3 of them that are all hugged up together, and onto those I'm going to be layering the word snuggle up that came in the ephemera pack. It's a clear acetate piece with gold writing, and I just thought that fit really well for the subject of the photo, because Margaret, right there, I don't know if you can see, is snuggled up with her pets. So she's got her dog Bonnie, her cat Geordie, and the only reason I know which cat that was is because I'd written on the back of the picture the actual date it was taken, as well as the animals she was with. And she had another cat called Jack. I was very fond of Jack and Geordie, the cats that we always used to snuggle up, and they were really just so sweet. I'm such a cat person at heart as well, so it was a delight to live with those animals. And anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be sticking some more of these hearts and sequins down, but I will just take the time to read to you the journaling, and there's not much there actually because I kind of ran out of space, but it says just enough to capture the essence of my layout. And it says, I shall never forget you had a real heart of gold, and although it's been years since lodging with you in Inverness, I often wonder about you and remember fondly the brief yet wonderful days of living with you. So that's our Margaret. And I've also written the name Bonnie and Geordie underneath her title, which I've settled to be on the bottom left. As you saw earlier, I was kind of moving the title around, but I kind of like the home I found for it there, with those lovely glittery alphas that came in that kit too. So I'm just going to say thanks for watching because we're coming to the end now, and I also want to just have a little shout out to all my new subscribers and say thank you so much. I've noticed lots of people have recently subscribed, and I'm really grateful to you all and for my existing subscribers. It's really lovely to have you all on board, and I look forward to seeing you again for another layout in the near future. Bye for now.
Slow it down, we've almost reached the borderline. Just be